It's the very final race of the TNR 2021 Touring Car season, and a huge treat in store for this. Everybody on tenterhooks biting their nails because it's all down to Mark and VX Dave, and for the first time today the random grid has come out in favour of the Vauxhall driver, who will start 6th. So it's not a great starting position because he's still got Mark's teammate Lee ahead of him in 4th place, but Mark starts last place. He has more points than VX Dave at the moment, so he's just got to finish pretty close behind, and that will enable him to win the championship. But neither of them are in a pretty plain sailing position here because there are a lot of cars ahead of them, and we join the action for the final time with Dubs on pole position and Fez alongside. So 2 Renaults on the front row. Josh wins in 3rd place in the Mercedes. He's had a really good season. In the background, Mark's made quite a good start, tries to get alongside the BMW. Where's VX Dave? He's already got up past his teammate. Oh, now we've just seen Dubs come off. VX Dave's already up the inside of his teammate. Graham's letting through, so VX Dave up to 4th place. So Vauxhall's 4th and 5th at the moment. And in the background, Mark is also making up places. He's up to 9th place at the moment. And crucially, Josh Wins is trying to get past Lee. Can't quite do it. VX Dave's going to go down the inside as they head into Graham curve first time. Fez leads, but VX Dave manages to get up to 3rd place. Mark behind is already up to 8th place though, from last on the grid, from 12th place on the grid, and he's harassing the BMW as they head onto the straight and down the hill. There's contact though between him and Fez. Does he turn over on Fez? It was difficult to say, but the two of them were side by side, and that did not work out at all well for Mark. Meanwhile, VX Dave is in 3rd place, trying to catch up on Lee, but he's had to cede position to Josh Wins, but then immediately cuts back up the inside. Great driving between the Mercedes and Vauxhall guys, and it's all to play for still. Mark is back up to 10th place in the background, so he's still in this hunt at the moment. VX Dave makes a big mistake though, coming through the final left-hander before the very final bend, and Lee is on the attack for the race lead as they head into the final turn. Tries to go around the outside of Fez. Is he going to do it? I don't think he is quite. So we watch the leaders because they're side by side. This is fascinating all the way through. There's contact between them. They're going to take each other out if they're not careful. They do. Fez takes out Lee, and that makes an easy way through for Josh Wins, who now leads in the Mercedes ahead of the Vauxhall, but the Vauxhall straight to the outside, and he's going to try and go around the outside into the first hairpin. Is he going to manage it? I don't think he will quite, and the Mercedes stays in the lead for now. And but VX Dave's got his teammate just behind, so we've got Mercedes, Vauxhall, and it's BMW. Oz having a storming run in the BMW on the final race of the season. It's not been a great season for the BMW guys. There's been only one podium to shout about so far, so Oz really on the money here. Mark's up to 7th place further back, I can tell you. We'll try and have a quick look at Mark as VX Dave's teammate is up behind him. So Mark is in 7th. He's a fairly lonely 7th at the moment, but he's got places to gain, and remember, he still has the points advantage over VX Dave, so all he's got to do is make a few more places. And in the background you can see there is fighting going on between Andy and Sam, so Mark is just behind those guys, so he's got a real opportunity to move up here, and VX Dave goes through for the lead. There's a mistake from Josh. Josh loses it, and now it's a Vauxhall 1-2 because we've got VX Dave ahead of Graham, and Oz Phillips moves up to 3rd place in the BMW. So this is really, really great so far from the Vauxhall side of things. They're not going to win the teams, I don't think. I think that's been wrapped up by Team Emochi, or Team Minion as they are known as. But Team Shitbox having a good final run. Mark is in 7th, so it's all eyes on him now. What can he do? He's only got to get up and finish directly behind VX Dave, and he wins the title. He's got a few places left to go. Oh, but he goes for a really daring move there. That's not going to work out, and ends up getting turned. But oh, that was so close, trying to weave his way between the other cars, find his way between the other cars. There's one of the Mercedes going slow there. That was Andy. So Mark does get up to 5th place. Andy lets him through. So Andy now just a few places behind VX Dave, but VX Dave in the lead of this race at the moment and pulling out an advantage over his teammate. So the Vauxhall's doing really well at the moment, but Oz is staying with them, and so is Wins in 4th place. Mark coming down the hill now, so he's got an opportunity to now start to pull ahead of those guys, and his teammate isn't too far behind either in 8th place, so his teammate will try and help him out, I'm sure, if possible. And who's close on track at the moment? Well, Andy and Sam and Lee, just behind Mark, are in really incredible positions at the moment. Did Mark... Mark just touched the grass a little bit, I think, but he's got away with it, so all is fine at the moment, and it still will be close in this type of fight. But you can see the battle ahead of them for 2nd place is absolutely raging between Graham's Vauxhall, Oz's BMW and Josh's Mercedes. But Mark needs to knuckle down now. So best laps last time around, VX Dave a 130.7, Mark was a 133.7, so he was 3 seconds slower, but obviously had that contact with the other cars going into Druids last time. So this next lap is crucial, because this is all about whether Mark can be quicker and start to close up on that lead pack. Slightly conservative run through the hairpin that time, but you know, it's a long lap here, so there's plenty of time to catch up. Josh and this is Sam and Lee and Andy, and Lee has got past Andy, but he's now trying to get up the inside of Sam. He does it, and he's going to be on the outside as they go down the straight. I don't know that this is going to put him in a very good position at all, but he's going to try it anyway. Lee very skillful though. Let's see, can he turn in ahead of Sam? I don't know if he's quite going to do it. Sam gives him the space. Excellent driving from Lee and from Sam, and now the Team Minion cars are rapidly moving their way back up through the field, up to 5th and 6th. Remember, Mark started 12th for this, and he's up to 5th place already. Oh, but he's gone wide. He's gone really wide. He's gone into the gravel. But he does recover. He does recover and retains 5th position for now. But he's a long, long way out. Thankfully, damage turned off, because you can see the state of some of these cars, and they would not make it to the end of this race. But Mark into the pits. Mark must have had a drive-through or something. This is terrible for the championship though. This is going to hand everything VX Dave's direction. VX Dave just needs to finish now. He leads the race whilst Mark is in the pits, and it is really sorry stuff for Mark. I think he's got a drive-through. He's coming back out, but it's not the way that Mark wanted to end this season. He was leading for a good few rounds, and it's looking really, really bad for them now. But for these guys, the Team Shitbox guys, they are having the time of their lives, because for the first time this season, they're in a position to potentially get a 1-2. They were so close at Alton Park Race 1 getting a 1-2. They ended up with a 1-3, Graham taking his sole victory of the season. Although VX Dave's got to take a little bit of gratitude from his teammate here. Or give a little bit of gratitude to his teammate here, because his teammate made it very easy on the first lap of this race for him to get past and get as far out in front as possible. But VX Dave's had to fight for it from 6th place this time, but he does maintain the lead at the moment, and Mark is down in 11th, so Mark is out of the points, just ahead of Diesel at the moment after that drive-through penalty. So not what Mark wanted, but there's half the race left to run, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Meanwhile, the battle is on. Lee is trying to fly the flag for Team Emochi. He's in 5th place at the moment, and Sam is in 6th ahead of Andy in 7th. There's Bad Robots, Green Renault in 8th, Dubs is in 9th. Mark now back into the points though, because Fez has dropped back, but it's the lap times that are telling. The fastest guy on track by some margin is Lee at the moment, a 1:30.5, but the next fastest man is VX Dave on a 1:31, so there's not a huge amount of time between them. The Astra not as decent around the circuit either, but he is still pumping in the laps at the moment. You compare to his teammate, who was half a second off of him, Graham, there on the previous lap there. So these guys doing some hot laps actually at the front. Josh is managing 31.4 as well, so similar pace to Graham in his Mercedes. And there is Oz in 4th place in the BMW. So looking like he's probably not going to get another podium today, but it will be a cracking result anyway if he does manage to hold on to 4th. Further back, Mark's still not making any big progress, but this will be his first clean lap after that drive-through penalty, so we will see whether he might be able to set a good lap here and whether there is any hope for recovering this position. His teammate lapping quite well, but VX Dave now sets the pace. VX Dave's now dropping into the 130s, and nobody else even close on lap time at the moment. But what does Mark set as he comes over the line? It's a very slow lap. Mark is retired. It's all over then, so this guy won't know it yet, but he's going to be champion if he just keeps the car on track. His teammate though under serious pressure in the Astra, with Josh in the A class just behind. We go on board with Josh's Mercedes as they go through the double right-hander. Look at the cars bouncing, Graham controlling it beautifully, but Josh looking the quicker of the two at this stage in the race. They bounce over the curbs. Last lap around, Josh took 4/10 out of Graham. That's what's enabled him to close up so rapidly, and out in front Graham's teammate is now 3.5 seconds to the good of Graham. And there's Sheen curve, and then we're going to go through the final turn. Graham staying off the curve, Josh staying off the curve. This is interesting stuff, neither of them using the curves, and we're now on to the penultimate lap as these boys cross the line. Again, VX Dave setting the race pace. Has Lee got anything better in his Team Emochi car? Yes, so Lee is now the pace setter, 130.8, 2/10 faster than the race leader at the moment. And there is VX Dave bouncing over the curbs, but things are starting to spread out a little bit, except second place, where things are still hotting up. It's still a close one for second place, and there's a lot at stake here because the Vauxhall guys will be wanting to get their first 1-2 of the season in the final race, but Josh is doing everything he can to stop that from happening. We go on board with Josh once more as we head downhill. The Jocks and Frocks team are not in contention to challenge for second place in the teams. They need to stay ahead of the Team Flat Cap McGanns of Fez and Bad Robot. But Graham is holding Josh at bay at the moment. It's quality driving between these two for the final race of the season. It's a bit of a subdued ending because of Mark's retirement, sadly. But out in front, VX Dave does still lead. He's just got to do... they cross the line. VX Dave is the champion in the Vauxhall. It is a 1-2 for the Vauxhall team. And Josh finishes third in the Mercedes. And Oz fourth in the BMW. Fifth was Lee. Sixth is going to be Sam. A great result at the end of the season there. Andy's going to come across the line in 7th place. Bad Robot 8th. Dubs is 9th. Diesel 10th. Mark unfortunately retired, as has Fez.